I think the American people are interested in getting to the bottom of some of the outstanding issues. Look, as you know, I voted in favor of a bipartisan commission. I think that would have had more credibility. Just having a commission which is established under the Speaker of the House obviously leaves credibility in the lurch. Look, that was a terrible day in American history, and it's going to be used against us around the world. It already is, by China and Russia. It has huge implications. It should never happen again, and any effort to understand why it happened is, in my opinion, appropriate.
A terrible day in American history. That was Senator Mitt Romney laying out just why a thorough accounting of the Capitol insurrection is so necessary. The House this week is moving closer to setting up an organized effort to understand why it happened, as Mitt Romney puts it there, with a vote to establish a 13-member select committee to investigate the January 6th attack taking place tomorrow. According to the outlines of the proposal, Speaker Pelosi will have the power to unilaterally appoint 8 members, and her office has left the door open to appointing a Republican for one of those spots. Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Jason Crow of Colorado. He's a member of the Intel and Armed Services Committee. Congressman, you have helped us understand a lot of what isn't known publicly yet about that day. And I wonder your thoughts to both headlines. One, that this Plan B, I guess, a select committee, is moving forward. And two, the Speaker may use one of her spots to appoint a Republican.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Nicole. First of all, it's extremely disappointing that the Senate didn't do its duty by coming together and voting for a commission. That would have been the right thing to do. It's what the country did. It's what the Congress did after September 11th, because it was what we needed to do. And similarly, it's what we needed to do after January 6th as well. They decided not to fulfill that obligation. So the House of Representatives has done what we have always done over the last couple of years, and that is stand up, stand in the breach, so to speak, and perform our duty to move this select committee forward. And I applaud the Speaker for making the decision to do that. With respect to the composition of the committee, the Speaker has done a very nice job of selecting the right teams and the right people. We have been through 2 impeachments in the last 3 years, so she's very adept at finding the right teams. Both of those impeachments went through without mistakes, bringing incredibly strong cases. Of course, we can't control, again, the Senate and whether or not they'll fulfill their duty, but we will do what's necessary.
I mean, it seems to me, having spent some time in the Republican Party myself, that they did more than fail to do their duty. The Republican leaders in the House and Senate leadership whipped votes against the formation of a bipartisan commission. Does that increase your interest in wanting to know what they know and what they're so eager to not have investigated?
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, what do they want to hide here? I think the answer is obvious, that they don't want to talk about Donald Trump's role in this. They don't want to talk about how this happened with Donald Trump's supporters. They want to sweep it under the rug, because those who want to sweep it under the rug want power. They want to win elections. They want to retake control of the House. They want to retake the Senate. And nothing is more important to these people. I mean, listen, we had a police officer die of his injuries. Another took his life after the attack. 140 others were badly beaten. I had police officers breaking down in tears to me, saying, we did the best we could, sir, to fulfill our obligation to you. And I feel like we let you down. And I said, no, you did not let us down. You did your duty. We have an obligation to you to find the truth, to find accountability, to make sure this doesn't happen again. So we have to do right by those officers, but we also have to fight for democracy here. Autocracy, dictatorship is on the rise around the world. America, to be the beacon of hope that we need to be able to show the world that we're willing to fight for it at home. That's what this truth and accountability is about, and that's why it's so important we do this the right way.
I wonder how much the select committee will look at everything that's been said since it happened. I mean, one of the most startling things of President Biden's trip to Europe and his summit with Vladimir Putin was Putin taking up for the insurrectionists. And you now have this pretty sinister echo chamber between the primetime hosts at Fox News and Vladimir Putin, and you talked about autocracy and democracy. I mean, will the scope include really trying to sort of understand where all the money came from, where all the messages were amplified? Can you talk a little bit about the scope sort of leading up to and since the insurrection?
Sure. Well, the scope has to answer what happened, why it happened, and how we prevent this from ever happening again. And that would include, all the facts. I am always careful not to predetermine facts or to show where I think those facts are going to lead. You do an investigation, you convene a committee to find those facts and to gather all those facts, wherever they happen to lead you. That's what this country deserves. That's what rule of law deserves. That's what the American people and those police officers deserve. So, that we have to be very careful not to say it's going to go one direction or the other. It'll go where it needs to go. It'll go where we have an obligation to take it. But it has to start. It has to start in earnest, and we have to have the right people on that committee. I serve on the Armed Services Committee. I serve on the Intelligence Committee. I was one of the members that was trapped in the gallery for a half an hour, wondering if I was going to have to fight my way out. And I never thought I'd be in that position again. We have to stop this from happening. We have an obligation to do so, and we have to uncover the truth, and we won't stop until we are able to do that.
A lot of what the public knows, we know from investigative reporting, and we know some from the congressional hearings. Where are the biggest gaps for you? I mean, are they around the delay in the National Guard? Are they around the failure of the intel from the FBI Norfolk office to get to the frontline police officers? I mean, where are the holes from where you sit?
Well, there are several investigations, Nicole, as you point out. There's a DOD IG investigation. There are DOJ investigations. I'm actually overseeing and requested and set off a General Accountability Office investigation. But there are things that those investigations will not get to, namely, what was Donald Trump doing before the attack, during the attack? Who was he talking to? What happened in that phone call with Kevin McCarthy? Why was the National Guard and the military delayed? Who ordered them to eventually go? Why was there a delay in that? The intelligence here. I mean, this was planned out in the open. Let's remember, this was not a secret assault. This was planned out in the open. I actually sent my children home a couple of days early after swearing in because I saw what was about to happen. I was concerned about it. So my family went home to Colorado. Yeah. What was the huge disconnect between all of what we knew to be true leading up to it and the complete lack of preparation? Our officers deserve better. Our democracy deserves better, and the American people deserve better, and we're going to get the answers to those.
I want to switch gears and ask you about legislation that you have sponsored to speed visas for Afghans who have helped our now decades-long efforts in Afghanistan. You said this is a moral imperative for our nation. We have to honor our promises to our partners. We're going to debate Afghanistan for decades to come and what lessons we learned, but we do know we can do things with honor for the next few weeks. Talk about the legislation and its importance.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I served 3 combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan as an Army Ranger. I served shoulder to shoulder with Afghans, with Iraqis who fought with us, bled with us, died alongside American soldiers. I may not be sitting here talking to you right now, today, had it not been for the service of those Afghans and those Iraqis who warned me of threats, who helped me assess risk, who served with me on missions. They are my brothers and sisters, and I have an obligation to them, a personal one. But we also have a national security obligation to these folks as well. America is strong because we have friends, we have partners, we have allies. We're not just strong because of the number of tanks and bombers that we have. And if we want to have friends in the future to meet the many threats that we face, we have to treat our current friends right, because our future friends are looking very carefully at how we treat the Afghans over the next couple of months as we withdraw. These people will be killed by the Taliban if we don't get them out. So I'm very proud that we actually passed today my bill to expedite the special immigrant visa process. That's going to get more of those folks out faster, but we have more work to do.